Hey guys, I am so sorry about that. Did I take too long? I hope I didn't take too long. If you're new here, hi, my name is Debbie. Welcome to my channel. We are not technically in the afternoon part because I had, let me see. Let's reverse. Um, Hi, I'm Debbie. Welcome to my channel. This morning we heard opening statements in the Widow's Words murder trial. It is Iowa v. Karina Cooper, who allegedly pew-pewed her husband while he was asleep in his recliner one night. And it is about to storm here, guys. So if you lose me, that is why. Um, but if it's just a StreamYard crash, I will be right back. If it's a total electrical outage, I will text Judy and she will let y'all know. Um, so what happened was at 1 o'clock today, we went from Iowa to Idaho to watch Brian Koberger change his plea to guilty. So we did that, and then after that, I left y'all to go buy cupcakes for my husband because it's his birthday. So now we are going to resume with what was the morning session. We are still on the first witness, which is Deputy Kyle Fangman. He has the coolest last name, Fangman. Um, ooh, you know what? If his first name was Wolfgang, would that not be the coolest name ever? I told y'all I'm in a really good mood today. Wolfgang Fangman. That would be like the best name in the world. Kyle Fangman, Deputy Kyle Fangman. He was first on the scene. Um, and then Deputy Foster, I think, was second on the scene. We haven't heard from him yet. We're still on the first witness. So let's continue where we left off because I saved it. So I don't have to guess and try to figure out where I am like I usually do. I got it together today, y'all. So I'm going to stop my camera because StreamYard is being irritable today. We're going to skip breaks and we're going to zoom. And we're going to watch it all. We're not going to miss anything, I promise. And the reason why we stopped where we did is because it's a sidebar or something. So
Now to solve investigation support theory of an unknown. I think that's an intruder. Brian.
No.
I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
Mr. Hotbaker, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just noting the time.
We'll go till noon.
Sorry, y'all.
Remains unmolested, that things don't get moved or changed.
Yeah, to the best of our abilities, we try to.
Yeah. So when you first arrived at the scene, you would have had Mr. Aaron Cooper there, correct?
Correct.
Miss Cooper, Karina,
Correct.
their children. How long total were you at the scene?
I think I left to go back to the sheriff's office around 7:06, so shortly after 7 in the morning.
And we know that Deputy Foster arrived on the scene as well, so he was there.
Correct.
And I believe EMS arrived as well. Who came from EMS?
It was 2 personnel with Traer.
Okay. And at that point, it's fair to say, isn't it, that the scene wasn't secured in the sense that people were stepping into the living room, presumably stepping into the blood, that sort of thing, right?
Yes, it was only people we allowed in, though.
Okay. And when it comes to something like a shell casing, those things can, and when they hit the ground, they can bounce, right?
Yeah, bounce roll, yeah.
Okay. Can get kicked around if there's a lot of movement before people are actually looking for them, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so there's a number of explanations for the displacement of the shell casing that wouldn't involve somebody picking it up, right? There are a number of why shell casing would be moved or come up missing, correct?
Yeah, they're not very big.
Yeah. I mean, you could fall in a cold air return or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think you said maybe at most even the bullet itself would be the size of a pencil or something, right?
Yeah, the diameter is.
Yeah. And during that time, you had EMS show up. When did you start to take photographs?
I think I started as within 4 to 5 minutes of getting on scene.
Okay. How were you taking the photographs? With what? A camera?
My department issued work phone.
Okay. Did you ever shift to a camera?
I didn't know.
Okay. So you were using that same, for every photo that we saw that you were responsible for, you were taking that on your cell phone?
Okay. My work phone, yes.
Are you aware, were other photos taken by other individuals later that morning?
Deputy Foster took some photos. The ones I witnessed him take were with my phone. I assume the state took some. I don't know if other people from my department did or not.
Had you been inside this property before, this home?
No.
So as far as the status of windows locked or unlocked, doors locked or unlocked, this would have been a new experience for you to be at this home. Fair?
Correct.
And you weren't there earlier that evening to know the status of any windows or entry into a structure or home intruder, even without evidence of somebody having to break something, correct?
Correct.
There was some talk about the swiping. Basically what you saw is blood distant.
Correct.
And how that displacement happened, it might have been a shoe, it might have been a barefoot, it could have been any number of things with a number of people that were at the scene. Fair?
Fair.
You have no idea, do you, how long it takes for blood to coagulate?
I know it's not.
StreamYard's messing with my audio again. Can you guys hear me? And let me know if you can hear Court.
not instant, but whether it's 5, 10, half hour,
Okay.
I don't know.
Or even the number of seconds before it starts to change characteristics as soon as it's exposed to oxygen, right?
Yeah, it starts that process.
Right. You were, I think, part of the execution of some search warrants at the property. Is that fair?
Yes.
When you were executing those search warrants, did you find a diary or any writings of Miss Cooper?
No.
Did you examine any Kindles or books or anything like that to see what types of books she might have been reading?
No.
Did you examine any computers that were seized for emails or anything like that?
No.
So at the time that you were doing the investigation, when I speak of a diary or a journal, you don't have any pieces of paper, any notations, any documentations that show planning of any sort?
I don't. No.
Okay. Or the time that Mr. Cooper was killed?
No.
No discussions about the manner in which Mr. Cooper was killed?
What do you mean?
No discussions in documents, right, from your part of the investigation that would show an agreement of the manner of killing Mr. Cooper?
No. No.
Or discussions of the steps that were taken, in the words of Mr. Kodiaga, about a plot? Is that right? The photos that were taken, I think, exhibits kind of the 104 through 115. You remember those? Mr.
Yeah.
Kodiaga went through those with you. Do you know what time those were taken?
The ones I took were within the first 10 to 15 minutes afterwards.
Do you know which ones those are out of the exhibits that Mr. Deputy Foster took?
Yeah. They are 112, 113, and 114.
Can I approach, Your Honor?
You want all of them or just those three? Okay.
Oh, approach the witness. I thought he meant approach the bench. I was like, why?
So exhibits 112 through 114, those are taken by Deputy Foster at least an hour after the photos that you took, right?
Yeah, somewhere in that.
So obviously any coagulation or any drying of blood at that point would be much more aged in those photos.
Correct.
Can you take a look at State's Exhibit 115, which I think is the last of that group?
Yeah.
Did you take that photo?
Yeah, I believe I did.
Are you sure?
pretty sure. I remember looking at that cabinet or end table or whatever it is.
Now, when you take the photo on the phone, is that an iPhone or an Apple product?
It's an iPhone.
What time did you take the photo in Exhibit 115?
I'm not sure.
Were you taking photos around 6:21 a.m. as well?
I could have been. I'm not sure.
If there was a, you know how photos have kind of timestamps and dates and things like that, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing malfunctioning about the phone that you were using in the card, was there?
No.
So if the timestamp and date reflected that date and 6:21 in the morning, you wouldn't have a reason to quibble with that, would you?
No, the phone timestamp would be accurate.
It was an ongoing investigation and you didn't leave the scene until roughly 7 o'clock or something.
Correct.
I think, Mr. Hawbaker, with that, we're right at noon, so, you about done?
I was going to say no further questions.
Well, even better.
Even better.
How much do you have? Okay, let's just finish this witness then. So, go ahead, Mr. Kodiaga.
Thank you, Judge. You were asked, Deputy, about the scene being disturbed, correct?
Correct.
What actions did you take to ensure that the scene was not disturbed?
We only allowed in personnel that we deemed essential, which would be the EMS and the investigator from the medical examiner's office. We tried to avoid stepping on the blood. We tried to avoid moving anything as much as possible. We did decide to move Ryan, obviously.
And why is it important not to disturb the scene?
Because once it's disturbed, you can't undisturb it.
Sometimes it helps to, if a scene is being disturbed, the evidence gets destroyed or gets misplaced, correct?
Correct.
When you arrived at the scene, you located Ryan Cooper dead, correct?
Correct.
But you did find the defendant sitting, as your video shown, on Ryan Cooper.
Correct.
You also did find her, as you've testified and as the video shown, that she covered her face with the blood that was coming from Ryan Cooper.
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope of cross.
Overruled, you can answer the question.
I observed blood on her face. I can't testify to how it got there.
Does that blood being on her face, does that disturb the scene, her actions of sitting and touching and moving Ryan Cooper disturb the scene?
It could, yes.
Was Aaron Cooper sitting on Ryan Cooper?
No,
Was Cade Cooper sitting on Ryan Cooper?
not that I saw.
Were any of the other children moving or touching the dad who was dead?
Not that I saw.
Only the defendant was touching Ryan Cooper.
Correct.
You asked about electronics and items that were seized. Fair to say that a lot of electronics were seized from this house.
That a lot were?
That some electronics were seized from this house,
Yes.
including what you've testified to as the defendant's phone.
Correct.
You're not the person who's in charge of examining the contents of these electronics. Fair enough?
Say that again?
You are not the person in charge of examining, doing a forensic examination of these electronics.
I am not, no.
In fact, as you testified, your department invited the DCI unit to come and help with the investigations.
Correct.
So this was a multi-department investigation taking place.
Correct.
And other officers were in charge of examining phones, examining items that were seized from these residents.
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Any recross, Mr. Hawbaker?
None, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down. And ladies and gentlemen, we will take a lunch break. I would ask that you be back ready to go at 1:30. I'm going to you of the gaze. I will tell you, busy again, not to talk to anybody, even if they want to talk to you about this case. And when you're not here, other than using the restroom, I'd ask that you remain kind of in the jury room area so as to avoid contact other again all communicating with anybody, avoid any or social media. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a good break and we'll see you after lunch. At this point, is the state prepared to call its next witness?
The state is prepared to call our next witness, Your Honor. The state calls Deputy Travis Foster.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Foster. You can come on up and have a seat to my far left if you. So there's a microphone on there. If you could turn that, there's a little button at the bottom there. Nope, on the top. This is it. There you go. Yep, you can adjust that however you'd like, sir. All right. Deputy Foster, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving in these proceedings will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, and then for the record, can you please provide us with your first and last name and spell them?
Travis Foster, Travis Foster.
Great, thank you. Mr. Engel, you may begin.
Thank you, Judge. Deputy Foster, how are you employed?
I am employed as a deputy sheriff with the Powashik County Sheriff's Office
How long have you been so employed?
for 3 years.
How long have you been employed in law enforcement generally?
Almost 9.5 years.
Could you just briefly outline for the jury your education and training that qualifies you for that work?
My formal education, I have a AA degree in liberal arts and an AAS degree in criminal justice from Indian Hills Community College. I also have a Bachelor of Arts degree in interdisciplinary studies from Iowa State University, and I have a Master of Arts degree in criminal justice from Arizona State University.
Can you talk a little bit about your training that you received as a member of law enforcement?
Yep, I started law enforcement in 2016 and graduated the Law Enforcement Academy in October of 2016. Since graduating, I've completed an additional 620 hours of training to include multiple courses in interview and interrogation, search warrant writing, advanced OWI detection, and training in various types of criminal investigations to include narcotics, financial exploitation, sexual exploitation, and homicides and missing persons cases.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about your duties generally?
Currently, I'm assigned to night shift patrol, so I respond to calls, take reports, and do my own investigations.
Is his mic on?
Investigations into what types of cases?
Sexual abuse, financial exploitation, theft, burglary, other various types of OWI investigations as well.
Pima County Sheriff's Office in 2021?
Yes,
Were you on duty on the morning of June 18th of 2021?
yes.
Were you dispatched to an address at K Avenue?
Yes, I was
Hey,
dispatched
Jill.
to 1846 K Avenue,
Do you remember about what time that dispatch call came in?
4:39 a.m.
What was the nature of the information that you received?
Dispatch advised us that someone had been shot and that they were currently bleeding.
I'm going to ask you to slow down just a little bit, maybe move that mic back just a little. Thank you. Just having a little bit of trouble understanding you. If I understand correctly, you said dispatch advised that someone had been shot and was currently bleeding.
Yes.
Did you have any other information at that time?
They say they were trying to get more information, but it couldn't get anything from the reporting party.
With that information, what's the first thing you observed when you arrived?
When I arrived on scene at 4:46 a.m. and walked up to the entrance of the residence and observed two adults, one male, one female. The male was later identified as Aaron Cooper, and he was consoling the female who was identified as Karina Cooper.
So the first thing you did then is you arrived on scene, you walked towards the house, and you see these two individuals, Karina Cooper and Aaron Cooper.
Yes,
Did you attempt to engage with them?
yes.
For what purpose?
I asked Aaron what happened, or excuse me, I asked him where the other deputy was and where the victim was, and he advised that Deputy Fangman and his brother were inside the residence in the living room.
This is implied by your response, but other members of law enforcement were already at the scene.
Deputy Fangman was, yes.
Do you recall what time you arrived at the scene?
4:46 a.m.
Were you able to obtain any information from Karina Cooper at that time?
No.
Explain.
She was hysterical, and I would consider her inconsolable at that point, so I didn't attempt to talk to her.
Aaron Cooper advised you that Deputy Fangen was inside,
Yes.
that his brother was inside as well. What did you do then with that information?
I went inside, walked through the kitchen, the dining room area, and made contact with Deputy Fangman inside the living room and observed the victim deceased in the recliner.
What were your initial observations of the scene?
After briefly speaking to Deputy Fangman, we both went over to the deceased and observed that he had blood coming out of his nose, his mouth, and his ears, and that there was a large pool of what appeared to be blood that had started to coagulate or dry, and then there was also blood spatter on the wall behind the recliner.
You saw blood spatter on the wall behind the recliner. You saw blood on the floor that you said you believed had started to dry.
It appeared to have started dry, yes.
Did you make any observations of Ryan Cooper himself?
He was deceased and had blood coming out of his ears and his mouth and his nose.
Any observations of the blood that you observed on his person?
It was on his face, on his body.
Did that appear to be dry, or was that more wet?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. Some appeared on his face appeared more dry. Other parts of his body appeared to be more wet.
What are your duties then at that time? So you've entered this residence, you believe that Ryan Cooper is deceased. What are your duties at the time? What are you attempting to do?
Determine what had happened, and we also called for our supervisor, who was the sheriff, and called for the medical examiner's office to be dispatched to the scene.
At this point, you have no information from the parties on scene, essentially, as to what had happened. Is that correct?
That's true.
Were you able then to determine, just by looking at Ryan Cooper, what had occurred?
No.
Can you explain that, please?
Well, there was a lot of blood on the floor and blood on his face, and our initial reports that he had been shot. However, by just briefly looking at him at that point, I wasn't able to locate any gunshot wounds or exit wounds, and we weren't able to locate any other holes in the walls or anything that would indicate he had been shot.
Did you have information that someone may have been in the house, or that dispatch had advised that someone may be in the house?
Yes, so the reporting party had also said someone was in the house, yes.
Did that prompt any action on your part?
After going to the body and briefly observing it, and outside and attempted to speak to Aaron and Karina again.
You stated that you went in the house. I'll talk to you in a moment about the route that you took to get into the house. In moving through the house, both initial entry and then moving through to the living room, as you stated, did you observe any signs of forced entry?
No.
What would you be looking for when you're looking for signs of forced entry?
Well, the door frame to be busted, broken glass, or possibly pry marks showing that someone had tried to gain entry.
Were you able to look at other potential points of entry, such as windows?
Yes, there is a window in the living room directly adjacent to where Ryan was in the recliner. There was also a door in the living room.
Any signs of forced entry?
No.
There's a door, we've heard some testimony already, behind where Ryan Cooper's body was located, correct?
Yes.
When you arrived, was that door open or closed?
It was closed?
At any point, did you open that door?
No.
Did you ever, during the time that you were on the scene, observe anyone go in or out of that door?
No.
No, you didn't observe it, or no?
No, I didn't observe anyone go through that door while I was on scene.
Thank you. Judge, may I approach the witness briefly?
You may, and you don't need to ask again
Thank you.
with this witness.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 313. Do you recognize what this is?
It's a layout of the house.
And that's the address at K Avenue that you responded to?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you to step down with the court's permission. I'll hand you a pointer. And if you could just show the jury the route that you took to enter the home and ultimately where you located Ryan Cooper's body.
Yep.
Mr. Engel, could you maybe turn on that mic and point it kind of that way?
StreamYard's nonsense today.
All right. You stated that you arrived at the scene and entered into the house. Could you show the jury which door you used to enter? All right. And then you proceeded through the house to Ryan Cooper. How did you get there?
So, I ran through the door here, there's a mudroom right here, walk up the stairs, go through the kitchen, go through the hallway or dining room area right here, and then go to the living room, and Ryan Cooper, and the recliner right here, and all these things.
Can I ask you to speak up just a little bit? There is a microphone there that may help. I understand that you step away from that.
You can move that whole like this.
No. Oh, okay.
All right, thank you. Could you point out to the jury where that door is that's behind the body of Ryan Cooper?
Right here.
And you showed us that you went in through that mud room and went around through the kitchen, through the hallway, and into the living room. Once you go into that, what's marked there is the mud room door and into the kitchen, is there any other way, once you're in the house, to get through to where Ryan Cooper is, or must you follow that route that you just showed us?
Unless you open this door right here, that's the only route to look.
Were you able to determine, and I know some of those are marked on there, but the other rooms that are adjacent or right there on that hallway, could you point those out? What were those when you were there at the scene? What did you observe?
The bedrooms had both doors open to either bedroom as I walked by them.
And also in that hallway, there's a bathroom off that hallway, is that correct?
I believe so.
And then there's something marked on there, stairs that lead to the second floor. Based on your familiarity with the scene, were you able to determine what those stairs are and where they lead to?
No, I just observed the stairs. I'm assuming they led upstairs, but I never went up there.
So based on your testimony, is it fair to say, if you enter through that mudroom door, the only way to get to Ryan Cooper is to pass by that hallway, which includes the bathroom, the two bedrooms, and the stairs?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So you stated when you initially arrived on the scene, you engaged briefly with Aaron Cooper. You did an attempt to speak with Karina Cooper. At any point, did you try to talk to Karina Cooper about what occurred?
Yes,
For what purpose?
to try to determine what had happened since she was a lone adult in the house when it occurred.
Were you able to get any information out of her?
Initially, it was very hard to because of how hysterical she was, but she did eventually provide information.
You said she did eventually provide information.
Yes.
What was she able to tell you when you initially spoke with her?
After escorting her to my patrol vehicle, I asked her what happened, and she said that she had initially heard a noise, a loud noise in the house, and that's what had woke her up, so she exited her bedroom and went through the living room and peeked into the kitchen and didn't see anything. She then returned back to the living room and thought she heard a noise or a snore or something like that. So she turned on the light and observed Ryan deceased in the bed, in the recliner.
Did you ask her?
And then provide an actual answer.
Was the information that she had provided you consistent with anything that you observed at the scene, or had you not made any determination?
At that time, I hadn't made a determination about what had happened yet.
Did you make any efforts to obtain further information from her?
Yes, and she stated that after she initially saw Ryan, she had noticed that her other son had awakened, so she took her son and brought him into the bedroom where her other kids were, and attempted to get her gun out of her safe, but was unable to.
And I know you were just using the demonstrative there. She told you that she had taken her son with her other children and herself and locked herself in one of the bedrooms. Is that correct?
Yeah, she said she didn't say she locked herself in there, but she said she retreated to her bedroom in an attempt to retrieve a gun out of her safe for self-defense.
Were you able to determine which bedroom she was talking about?
It would have been, I believe, bedroom 1 on the poster.
Judge, I'm going to put the demonstrative back on.
Okay.
All right. Based on the information she provided you, is your understanding that she retreated with her children to bedroom number 1?
Yes.
You said she provided you some information about a gun safe. What did she tell you about that gun safe?
She stated she wasn't able to get inside of it when she attempted to, when she retreated into the bedroom.
Did she tell you anything else about the gun safe? What type of gun was in it? Why she was trying to access it or anything like that?
No, she didn't advise what kind of firearm was in or anything like that.
We've heard some testimony that there was a dog on the property. Did you observe this animal?
I did.
Did you talk to Miss Cooper at any point about the dog?
No.
Did she make any comments to you that you recall about the dog?
She stated the dog was barking.
Did she tell you when the dog was barking?
No, she just stated the dog was barking.
Was that in relation to her story, the version of events that she gave you?
Yes. Yes.
So at this point, the information that you've received from Ms. Cooper is essentially limited to what you've testified to. Is that correct?
Yes.
With that information, did you feel that you had any understanding of what had occurred?
Between what was reported and what she had told us, no.
Did you ask her further follow-up questions then regarding, for instance, the noise that she had heard?
Yes, I asked her if what she thought had fallen could have been a gunshot, And initially, she said she didn't know, and then after briefly speaking with Deputy Fangman, I asked her that again, and she said she didn't know, she had never heard a gunshot before except maybe on TV. And then I inquired about her owning a gun, and she stated that she had never shot the gun that she had tried to retrieve from the safe.
She stated she'd never even heard a gunshot?
Yes. Except maybe on TV.
Were you in the same bedroom, number one?
Yes.
She had told you that she had attempted to open it but was unable to do so?
Yes.
Did you yourself make any attempts to open it?
Initially, no, but we eventually went back into the bedroom and we were able to get the safe open. There were two safes. One was in the bottom of the bedroom that was already, we could open freely, and then the safe that had the firearm in it was on top of the attic, and we were able to open that as well using my own fingerprint, so.
Okay, just want to make sure I understand your testimony. So you located the safe that she referenced, you made an effort to open it, and you stated you were able to open it how?
I put my thumbprint on it and it unlocked.
Did you have any passcodes or keys to that
No,
safe?
no, we had Aaron go ask her if she knew the passcode or anything, and Aaron came back and told us that he hadn't been able to get any information from her regarding any of that.
Is this a safe that you had ever seen before or had any access to?
No.
Were you wearing a body-worn camera on that night?
I was?
And have you had an opportunity to review your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Did that fairly and accurately capture the scene and the interactions that you had on June 18th, 2021?
It did.
Judge, at this time, and I believe by stipulation of the parties, the state would move to admit some portions of that body cam marked as State's Exhibit number 3.
Mr. Baker?
No objection, Your Honor.
The state would also move to publish.
All right, then State's Exhibit 103 is admitted, and we'll see if we can get the publication. Okay.
Are you the firefighter? What happened?
She said,
Where is the ambulance?
Where's the guy with the gunshot?
my brother's in the living room.
With the other deputy?
Yeah.
You heard right, Terry.
Haven't had a chance to talk to them for obvious reasons. There's a handgun here
Okay.
that was loaded,
Okay.
but I haven't found one by him, so I somebody moved it, but I don't know if you saw her, but she was literally on top of him when I came in here.
She's hysterical. I'm assuming that's the wife.
I think so. There's 3 kids in the bedroom with the door shut.
Okay. Well, call the ME and we get gloves and tell them to get hold of Dennis. County 7. get a hold of the ME's office. Also advise 86-1, we have one deceased male.
Yep, we already been instructed to.
Did you already tell him that? Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, apparently it's safe because she couldn't get it out of the safe. But apparently she lied about that because her husband was pew-pewed.
Your initial response to the scene, is that correct?
Yes.
That shows entry into the house, taking the route that you had described.
Yes.
What steps are you taking? It sounds like you had referenced contacting the ME. Who's that?
Yes, the medical examiner's office, and they would send their death investigator to assist.
Is that standard protocol?
Yes.
In instances where you're dealing with a dead body?
Yes.
And then you talked about getting a hold of Dennis as well.
Yes, he was, excuse me, he was the sheriff and our supervisor.
And again, that's standard protocol.
Yes.
What are you doing now as you've left the house after making your initial entry?
I'm going to get gloves, and I'm going to come back and talk to Aaron, or attempt to talk to Aaron and Karina. Why don't put her in your
Somebody help me now!
put her in your truck?
You can take her to the shop.
Huh?
Or you can put her in the shop.
Right here?
No,
Oh.
Where's the kids? Why is nobody help me now?
What's her name? What's her name?
Karina.
Karina. Your kids are in the bedroom with the door locked, okay? Is that your brother in there? Is that what you said? Did you already go in there? Does he have any problems? Mental health problems or anything?
At this point,
Huh?
That's fine. I can see my.
like at the time she made the 911 call, I was like, that doesn't sound fake. But how much later is this now? Did she still? I don't know. I guess I shouldn't talk because I don't know how I'd act if something happened to Travis. I'd be hysterical too.
Yeah,
Because that portion's kind of hard to hear. Couldn't quite hear, but it sounded like you were asking if Ryan Cooper had any medical problems. Is that correct?
medical or mental health problems, yes.
Why were you asking those questions?
Just in case if it was end up being a suicide.
And that conversation took place in the presence of Ms. Cooper, is that correct?
Yes.
Did she respond in any way to any of the questions that you were asking at that point?
No.
He unlocked. What? I had one I brought. She said somebody was in her house.
Okay.
With the MVP shield.
The one sitting up here?
Yeah.
That's your gun?
Ammo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
A little bit hard to hear. What was the conversation you were having with Aaron Cooper at that point?
Aaron, I said we had found a firearm inside, and Aaron advised me that he had brought a firearm with him because Karina had told him someone was inside, and that the firearm inside was his.
think you had testified previously then that you had moved Karina to your patrol vehicle and then attempted to get further information from her, is that correct?
Yes,
And that was captured by your body-worn camera?
yes. Karina, I need you to tell me what happened. Can you tell me what happened?
There was a loud noise. I thought something fell. Something always falls down in this house.
Okay. And then what happened?
I got up and I peeked in the living room and then I went to the kitchen.
Okay.
There was nothing fell. I
Okay.
didn't find anything. And then I heard him snore or some weird.
Can you put them in your truck?
No, I want my kid.
Well, I'm right. We need it.
I want my baby.
They're right there, okay? They're in your brother's truck, okay? Did you see anybody else in the house?
No. Wait, no. He made a noise and I turned on the light.
And then that's when he was there.
I was everywhere.
Okay. But you didn't hear or see anyone else?
No, what if they're here?
What?
What if they're here?
I don't...
Lady, you are being so loud that if somebody had broken in with the intent to unalive everybody in your house, you would be gone already. Or if they just came in to do that to one person and you were awake and screaming like that, they'd be gone. Like, no one's going to stay there with you running around screaming your head off like that. I mean, not to be insensitive, but I'm just saying, there's nobody there now. You've screamed and woken up anybody that's within earshot.
You're safe. All right?
I'm so scared. I couldn't get my fucking gun out of the safe.
You couldn't get your gun out of his face?
Kane woke up and I put him in the bedroom with the other kids and I told him to stay and I couldn't get the safe open to get my gun. I thought he was in the house.
Okay.
I couldn't do anything.
It's okay, all right? But you didn't actually see anybody?
No.
Okay. So did he do that to himself?
Wait. No fucking way.
Okay.
No. No. Somebody's here. Somebody has to be here. I'm so scared. I'm not here to get my kid. I can't breathe.
It's okay. I'm right here, okay?
I can't breathe.
Here, you want to hold my hand? Here. All right? I'm right here for you, okay?
It's so hot.
What? I know it's hot, okay? It's hot everywhere, all right? So, you heard something fall? And then you came outside. You put your kids... Hold on 1 second. 1 second, okay?
Why are you taking
All right.
me to the hospital?
So, you heard something drop. You put your kids in the bedroom, right? Huh?
My kids sleep with me, two of them do.
Okay. So you heard something in the house and you put your kids in the bedroom.
They were already in the bedroom with me.
Okay, so they're in the
And I
bedroom.
heard something, and it
Okay.
scared me.
Okay.
And I got up, and the dog was barking.
Okay.
Why did I go to the kitchen? I don't know. Why did I stop?
And you came out and he was like that?
I looked right in there, and I saw him laying there sleeping.
Okay.
I went in the kitchen to see if something fell.
Okay.
I heard him snore.
When EMS gets there, they need to sedate her. Give her a Valium. She needs a Valium or an Ativan. She needs a Xanax, something.
He was breathing. He snored. And I turned on the light and I saw him.
You turned on the light and you saw him?
He won't wake up. I want to go. I need my kids.
The kids are in the truck, okay? Would you rather go sit
Somebody
in your
needs to
position?
be with them.
Okay, they don't know what's happened yet. They don't want to see you quite yet, because then they're going to have to explain yourself, and I don't think they're ready for that yet.
What do I do? What do I do?
Hey, listen,
Help me.
we're here, okay? I'm here for you. All right, I'm here for you. All right? We just got to figure out what happened first, okay? You want to stand up?
Yeah, I need
Okay.
air.
Okay. Okay.
You guys. Oh my God. Look, where'd it go? I can't find it again. Have you ever seen a more bored looking prosecutor? I can't find it. Did you see that though? Did you see the way? Well, crap. I can't find it, but maybe he'll still be that way next time they show him.
Just take a seat, all right? Could the thing that you thought fell possibly been a gunshot? Real loud? Okay.
Oh my God!
Karina, sit up. Karina?
I can't.
Did she just
Oh
fall
my
out of the
God.
car onto the ground?
Ma'am, here. Give me your hand.
I
Let me-
can't.
I know. Listen, listen, I'm sorry.
I can't.
Okay. Just take a deep breath in.
Okay, so you guys did catch it. All
Okay.
right. It wasn't just me.
Deep breath in.
I can't.
All right, well, I'm here for you. Hey, control your breathing, okay? Control your breathing, all right?
Somebody needs to be with my kids.
Your kids don't want to see you. You have blood all over you.
I need somebody to come get my kids.
Okay, we will work on that, but we got to try to figure out what happened first, okay?
They need somebody with them.
Your brother's with them.
Okay.
Again, it's a little bit difficult to hear, but my understanding is that she stated in retelling her story that she heard a noise. she came out to the kitchen. She looked out the kitchen. I guess prior to that, she had peeked into the living room but not seen anything. Then when she went back to the living room and turned on a light is when she saw Ryan Cooper. She stated, is that correct, that she heard him snoring?
She said she thought she heard a noise or believed he might have been snoring because he had breathing issues.
And she mentioned that a couple of times on your body cam, is that correct?
Yes.
Did she ever talk to you about attempting, considering that he was snoring, to render CPR or otherwise render any kind of aid?
No.
She didn't talk to you about that, or she didn't say that she did that?
She didn't talk to me about rendering any kind of aid.
Were you aware of any efforts made by Karina Cooper to provide any aid to Ryan Cooper?
Not to my knowledge, no.
She said a few times, what if they were here, and made references to someone potentially being there at the property. Did she ever provide you with any specific name of anyone she had any particular concerns about?
No.
Did you find her to be particularly forthcoming with information?
Due to her emotional state, no.
I think you had mentioned that there was a little bit of further conversation with her about a gun safe. Is that correct?
Yes.
We wasn't sure. I couldn't get that far into the call.
Karina. Karina.
I'll give you a call.
Karina, I need you to sit up. Karina. Karina. I need you to sit up, okay? So we gotta figure out what happened. Okay? The loud thump, do you think it was a gunshot or not? I know this is hard, okay, but... What?
I don't know that I've ever heard a gunshot. TV, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Well, you said you have a gun.
I've never even shot it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. All right. Here, buddy.
All right, so you referenced the gun safe and the gun that you had attempted to retrieve. She stated that she's never fired that gun, is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Engler, are we done with this at this point?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear it then.
You outlined your experience in law enforcement. Based on that experience, have you reported to scenes or spent time with individuals who either they themselves have suffered from trauma or viewed traumatic events?
Yes, I responded to serious farming accidents where someone was either seriously hurt or killed.
And there were other family members present or who witnessed the state of the individual who had been injured or needed medical assistance?
Yes.
Have you ever seen anyone react the way that Ms. Cooper was acting?
No.
Please explain.
I've never seen someone's emotional state almost completely inhibit them from providing pertinent information to law enforcement.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Hawbaker, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy, what time of day was this?
In the morning, early morning.
Early morning.
Yes, sir.
And it's fair to say that she was, I think you said inconsolable or hysterical, right?
Yes, correct.
In some respects, it's understandable given the condition of her husband, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me ask you about State's Exhibit 313.
Good Lord, is she gonna cry through the entire trial?
Yes, I can.
Did you prepare this exhibit?
Did I prepare the exhibit? No.
Is it to scale?
How does
Is
he
it to
know?
scale?
He didn't prepare
I wouldn't
it. How
know.
does he know?
My guess is not.
I mean, I'm just trying to get the sense of the size of these rooms in this house. The size of that bathroom looks kind of disproportionate compared to other things, but you didn't prepare this, right?
No, sir.
You ask who prepared it.
The door that was discussed is visible behind the chair Mr. Cooper was in. At the time Mr. Cooper was shot, you wouldn't know whether that door was locked or unlocked, right?
No, sir.
Or frankly, the status of any door in the house at that time, right?
No.
In your experience, obviously you've had to respond to some traumatic events, car accidents, that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
And in this case, Aaron Cooper, the brother of the deceased, seemed pretty calm.
Yes, I would say he was in shock.
Yeah. And so how that presents or how people present can vary along a spectrum.
Yes.
depending
Yes, it can. Yep.
on- I mean, an individual's reaction to trauma is very unique, right?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Ringo, any further questions?
Just briefly, you stated that you believed Aaron Cooper was in shock. What makes you say that?
Just his demeanor and the look on his face when I arrived on scene. After he also had told me he had been inside. So just the totality of the circumstances.
Can you explain what you mean? Well, first, I suppose, do you have any training dealing with individuals who are in shock?
A little bit, I guess.
And when you say he's in shock, what are you referencing? What do you mean?
I'm just saying he's really taken back by what he had seen and what had occurred that day.
And based on that, that's what you believe explains his demeanor?
That he was very calm, and some people when they see something traumatic, they have different responses, and him being calm and not really saying a whole lot, that's a typical response for someone who's seen something traumatic, especially a loved one that's deceased at the time.
Defense was asking you, people respond differently to trauma. You've certainly been to a lot of traumatic scenes and traumatic events and dealt with and talked to individuals who have experienced and seen those things. Nonetheless, you stated you've never had an instance where somebody was not able to provide any helpful information in a similar fashion to Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any recross?
None, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. You are excused. Is the state prepared to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would call Aaron Cooper.
Maybe she realizes she overdid it on the day, so she feels like she has to cry now to make it seem real on the day. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But man, yeah, she overdid it. She really, really did. Guilty or not, she overdid it. Like, she should at least said something to the 911 operator. Like, at least be able to say what happened. It's ridiculous that she was screaming so loud that the police could hear her when the 911 operator called them.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cooper. Yeah, if you take a seat to my far left, if you would, sir. And that microphone's on, you can move it around to make yourself more comfortable with it. Sir, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in if you'd raise your right hand. Mr. Cooper, do you swear or affirm, sir, that the testimony you'll be giving in these proceedings will be the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Cooper, if you can please just start off by giving me your first name and your last name and spelling them.
Aaron Cooper, Aaron, Cooper.
Right, thank you, sir. Mr. Ringel?
First thing you need to
Mr.
do
Cooper,
is
how are
have
you?
a story.
Mr. Cooper, could you explain for the jury what it is that you do for work?
Farm, crop, and cattle.
How long you been doing that?
As long as I could, or have been able to.
Okay. Essentially since you were able?
Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Family business?
Yep.
Was your father a farmer?
Yep.
Was your mom involved in that business as well?
Yes, for bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping? Where's the property that you're farming, or properties that you're farming?
The main farm. Is that what you're asking?
Okay. And in or around Traer, Iowa?
Yeah.
You married, sir?
Yes.
And do you have any children?
3.
What are your children's names?
Aniston, Raylan, and Rory.
All right. And how are you related to Ryan?
My brother.
Is he your older brother or younger brother?
Older.
By how much?
4 years.
We've heard some testimony about this, but did Ryan have any children?
What's that?
Did Ryan have any children?
Yes.
How many children did he have?
4.
Did you and Ryan farm together?
Yes.
Can you explain how long you worked together in farming?
As long as I can remember.
Okay, ever since you were kids?
Yep.
So what were your respective roles then if you're both working together in farming?
No, we shared pretty much all the roles together for the most part. From planting to harvest and working cattle and hauling grain.
So when you say hauling cattle and hauling grain, I guess could you just briefly outline the operation? There's been some reference to the fact that it's a family business. What does that business look like? What components are there? If there's a hauling component, like blue trucking, just kind of tell the jury how the whole system works.
Okay. Most of the time, like for harvest, we would haul in grain to the elevators. And then certain years we would store grain and then haul it to a facility, like a ethanol plant.
Okay? And then depending on the season, you're, like you said, planting and harvesting and everything else that goes with farming?
Yep.
Is there a trucking component to that, and is that just limited to farming?
We have a feedlot that we raise cattle at, and we haul a majority of our own cattle to market.
Okay, so do you own the land that you farm, or did you and Ryan own that land?
The farm owned all of our land.
Okay, so when you say the farm owned all of the land, are you talking about Cooper Farms?
Yes,
Is that an LLC?
incorporated.
Okay, so everything's owned by Cooper Farms? So all the land is owned by Cooper Farms. What else is owned by Cooper Farms?
Our properties, our houses, the
When you
trucks.
say our houses, how many houses are we talking about?
Be me and my brothers. We have two other properties along that same highway that my parents lived at, and then an extra one.
And under this Cooper Farms umbrella then, we have all the farm property, these houses, which include the houses that you live in,
Correct,
and the house that Ryan lived in at the time?
correct.
All right. What about farm machinery and implements?
The farm owns all those.
And you're talking about doing a lot of hauling. Were there semi-trucks and trailers as well?
Yes.
Same question, I think it's going to be the same answer. Owned by
Same
Cooper
answer,
Farm?
yes, farm.
Okay. So is there any other work that you're doing in addition to farming?
No.
Are you a volunteer firefighter?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
Since 2018.
And what are your duties as a volunteer firefighter?
Any duty that's required.
Okay, such as?
Running accident scenes to house fires to medical lift assist.
So I want to talk to you about the summer of 2021. Where were you living at that time?
At my current home on the main farm.
How close was that to the house that Ryan and Karina Cooper were living in?
Probably a mile, mile and a half.
And that's where you were living in June of 2021?
Yes.
Could you describe, you've already talked about the fact that you had children, Ryan and Karina had some children, you're living nearby one another, obviously your family.
Mm-hmm.
What's the relationship like between the two families?
Oh, I would say normal. Holidays, birthdays, get-togethers.
Okay, so the families would see each other with some frequency?
Yeah. Yep.
And you said holidays and birthdays, pretty standard?
Yep.
What was your relationship with Ryan?
He was my brother. I guess I don't understand the question.
So you're working with him, how often are you seeing him?
Regularly.
Okay. Were you guys pretty close?
In a sense, yeah.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may, and you don't need to ask again with this witness.
Showing you what have been marked as State's Exhibits number 303 and 304. Do you recognize what those are?
Yes.
And what are those?
Pictures of Ryan with his children.
And I'm going to move to admit and publish those photographs, Your Honor.
Any objection? No. All right, it's 303 and 304, correct?
Yes, and Your Honor, I would ask
Yeah.
that, may we approach?
You may. And 304 are admitted. And you'd like to publish these?
Yes, please.
All right, try it again. All right, hold on. Well, I'll try it again. Okay.
All right, what are we seeing in exhibit number 303?
Be Ryan with all 4 of his children.
Okay. Do you remember or have any idea roughly when this was taken?
And Cortland was a baby, so roughly 9 years ago.
Okay. And this is 304, what are we looking at here?
Ryan with Cortland in our skid loader.
Okay. Same question, I think probably roughly the same answer about how old is this photo?
8 years ago, probably.
About 8 years ago?
All
right.
I'm bad with those.
I'm sorry. Thank you. That's fine, Your Honor. All right, so you stated that the families would do things together, birthdays and holidays. Did you take trips together as well? Just both of the families spend time with all the children?
Yes,
Okay. And how well did you know Karina?
pretty well.
How, could you explain that?
I guess I don't know how.
When did you first meet her?
I think we were down at Lake of the Ozarks.
Okay. And do you know how long she and Ryan were married before he passed away?
Not off the top of my head.
All right. Do you have an idea of how long she was somebody that was part of your family?
Roughly 10, or my wife won't be mad at me.
How old's the oldest kid?
10 plus years.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to pull that microphone just a little bit closer to you. We're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. Your Honor, could we put the lights back up here? All right, so I want to talk to you then about early morning of June 18th. Did you receive a phone call from Karina Cooper on that morning?
I did.
What was the nature of that phone call?
That somebody was inside their home.
Can you describe the tone or demeanor of the conversation you had with her?
Hysterical.
So you get a call and she says someone's in their house. Did she say anything else?
Not much, just words you couldn't really come up with. It's mainly just screaming.
Did she say anything about Ryan at all?
No,
Did she mention whether Ryan was injured or bleeding?
no,
Did she ask you to call 911?
no,
Did she ask you to call for an ambulance?
no.
Do you remember roughly what time this call was?
4:30
That's 4:30 a.m. or p.m.
a.m.
What were you thinking at that time?
At first, didn't know if it was real just because woke up out of sleep for it, but I didn't know what to think.
So what'd you do?
I grabbed a pistol that I had and went over there.
How'd you get there?
Drove
What'd you drive?
in my pickup.
Okay, so you take your pickup, you have a pistol. Do you remember which pistol that was?
It was a 9mm.
Do you remember about how long it took you to get there?
At least 5 minutes.
Okay. You said you live pretty much just up the road, right?
Yes.
All right. Describe for me then what you saw when you arrived.
Went in the house and Cable let me in, or Cade let me in, sorry. And Karina was laying across Ryan on his recliner.
Okay. So you pull into the driveway. At this point, the only information you have is that someone's in the house
Correct.
and you have your pistol. Talk to me about how you get from parking the truck. What are you seeing from the time you park the truck to the time you're getting up to the house?
I saw Cade in the window.
So you saw Cade in the window. How old was he at that point, roughly?
11 or 12.
What were you thinking when you saw Cade in the window?
My threat level went somewhat down
Okay, why? Should be obvious, but why?
because if there was somebody in their house that was not supposed to be there, I wouldn't figure he would be out and about.
Okay. You said Cade let you inside.
Yes.
What door did you go in?
Be the door that goes into the kitchen.
Into the kitchen door. Did he open that door for you?
Yes.
What were your observations of his demeanor at that time, if any?
Mainly just looked like shock,
Okay. When you say that, what do you mean?
just confusion.
Did he say anything to you?
Not that I remember.
Are you hearing anything at this point when you get up towards the door?
Her screaming.
When you say her, you mean Karina?
Karina.
Cade lets you in, you hear Karina screaming, Cade's the one that opened the door. Where's the screaming coming from?
The
Can you
living
tell?
room. Well, I couldn't tell exactly, but it would seem like it was coming from the south side of the home.
Okay. When you say the south side, is that the side with the living room?
Yes.
When you enter that house, we've had some testimony about this before from some of the deputies that were in the house. When you enter through that, right, what's marked there, that you said the door that goes into the kitchen, I suppose, there's a mudroom there as well?
Yes, the main door entrance there.
Once you're in the house, is there any way to get over to where Ryan Cooper is in the living room without going all the way around through the kitchen and the hallway?
No.
Okay, so that's the only way to get there once you're in the house from there?
Once you're in the house, yeah.
So obviously you traveled that route to get to the living room.
Yes.
What did you see when you got into the living room?
Ryan in the chair with her on top of him.
So she's on top of him. Any other adults in the house at that point?
No.
Did you see anyone else in the house at all? Besides, obviously, you mentioned Cade.
Cable and Cortland.
Okay. Did you see them at that point, like initially, or not?
I believe so, yes.
So you said Karina was on Ryan. Could you tell what she was doing?
Not exactly, just laying on him, up against him, I guess, like face to face,
Okay, face to face?
I think, yeah.
Okay, so her face is, you're seeing her face is literally against his face?
Yeah, kind of like you would be hugging almost.
Could you tell which side of his face her face was touching?
Be his left.
Was she doing anything? Was she moving, or was she just pressed against him?
I don't recall exactly what she was doing.
Okay. So you come in, she's sitting on top of him, her face is on the left side of his face. Did you make an attempt to touch Ryan? Or determine if he had a pulse?
Yes.
And explain that for us. What did you feel?
I remember grabbing his leg, and at that point did not feel warm. It wasn't cold, but didn't feel warm. And I checked for a pulse and got no pulse.
I'm sorry.
I did not get a pulse.
You say you touched his leg. Was that his bare leg? Was he wearing shorts?
Yes.
And you said his leg was cold.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you make any observations regarding any blood or tissue or anything else at the scene? At that point?
I noticed the blood. I mean,
What did you observe?
what's that?
What did you see?
Just blood on his
Where?
face, coming out of his nose and ears.
Any observations about the blood itself? Did it appear wet or dry, or no observation at all?
I remember it was either the nose or the ears, that it seemed like it was drying or dry.
So this is the blood that's on his face. Did you see blood elsewhere in the room?
On the floor.
What observations did you make of that blood?
At that point, it looked like it was darkening. It wasn't bright red,
What did that mean to you?
that it wasn't immediately fresh.
What experience do you have that you're basing that opinion on?
Just from hunting and my own life events, if you get cut, you kind of figure what it looks like when it dries.
Did you make any attempt to talk to Karina? She's sitting on top of Ryan. She called you over there. She said someone was in the house. Did you try to talk to her at all?
Well, it's been 3 years.
Not that I recall.
Any reason?
Hysteria.
Yours or hers?
Hers.
Okay. Were you able to get any information out of her?
No.
You said that she's sitting on top of him. She's got her face against his face. Did you ever see her attempt to render aid?
No,
Did you ever see her attempt to perform CPR?
no,
Did she ask you to perform CPR?
no,
Any reason to believe she's aware that you're a volunteer firefighter?
yes.
Why?
We're family, and she knows I am a firefighter.
So one thing we haven't talked about yet, you're on the way over to Ryan and Karina's property down the road from your house. She told you someone was in the house, you have a pistol. Did you attempt to call 911?
Yes,
When did you make that call?
on my way out the driveway of my house.
Okay, so as you're leaving your own property,
Correct.
you call 911.
Yes,
For what purpose?
because I was told somebody was in their house.
Okay. So I'm assuming you were able to contact and reach 911, is that
Yes.
correct? And do you remember when you terminated that phone call? When did you hang up with 911?
When the deputy got there.
Okay, when you say when the deputy got there, that wasn't the best question on my part. Where were you when you hung up with 911?
In the living room.
Okay, so you're in the
I
living room
believe.
at Ryan's. So throughout the duration of what you just described to us, where you leave your house, you enter Ryan and Karina's property, you come through to the living room, you're on the phone with 911 until a deputy arrives.
Correct.
And Your Honor, I believe State's Exhibit number 100 has previously been admitted. The state would move to publish.
Yes, it has been admitted, and see if we can get there. Yep, just let me know when you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, while he's doing that, I'm going to stand up and stretch. Feel free. Anybody can. Mr. Ringo, you there?
Indeed, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. So everybody have a seat. Okay. Go ahead and publish whenever you're ready.
County 911, what is the location of your emergency?
I'm going to tell you in a minute. I just got a call from my sister-in-law that somebody's in their house.
Okay, someone's in her house. What's the
Yep.
address?
It's K Avenue, 1846 K Avenue.
1846 K Avenue.
Yep.
Yeah, what you got, Jamie? Okay, someone's in her house,
Yep, I'm just pulling in now.
and you're there.
I'm just coming in my driveway.
Okay, because that's up in Traer area.
Yep, yep.
I have a. What's your sister's name?
Karina Cooper.
Cooper? Karina?
Yep, yep. I am a firefighter. I got my lights on right now. I just pulled in.
Okay. Okay, but she said someone's in the house.
Very bit hysterically.
Yeah, it's because we have
I
somebody
see the
on
kids in
911.
there.
We have a female on 911, but can't understand her.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if that's her.
It probably is. I am armed. Do you want me to proceed? Okay. Yeah? Okay. Three kids just came out and told me to come out.
Okay. Her brother's there.
She's still screaming.
Yeah, she's still screaming.
So I can find out what's going on.
But she said there was somebody in her house.
What the fuck? What? My brother's dead.
What?
What the fuck? We need ambulance now.
Sir?
We need ambulance.
Okay, we need an ambulance. Did somebody get shot?
What?
Did somebody get shot?
What? No, he's got blood coming out of his mouth and everything. So my brother's dead.
Okay, all right, we'll get an ambulance headed to that address that you're at. 1846 K Avenue.
Yep.
Okay, and how old is the person that's on the floor with blood coming out of the mouth?
What's that?
How old is the patient? Do you know?
Fuck.
It's all right. I want you just to take a deep breath.
There's nobody here, Karina.
Who is it that, sir?
He's 42.
Sir?
What?
Sir, can you tell me who it is that's on the
Ryan Cooper.
What's his name? Cooper.
Ryan Cooper. My brother.
Cooper?
Yes.
Okay, and what's your name?
Aaron Cooper.
Aaron Cooper? Okay, so
Yes.
brother?
He's my brother. I don't know.
And you said you're a firefighter, correct?
Yes. Hold on.
Aaron?
Karina, let me try to check. It's fine.
Aaron?
Yep.
I need to know, is
No.
there anyone in the house that's in danger now?
No. I don't think so.
So there's no one there with a gun?
No.
Okay. Okay, you're doing fine, Aaron, okay? I just want you to
Yep.
be with me if you can, all right? So there's
No.
nobody there with a gun at this time?
No. No.
We got an ambulance started, okay? We're going to get them started.
Yep.
We have a deputy on the way, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Can you tell me how your brother's doing?
Done.
What happened to your brother?
Playing a music on there.
I'm sorry, could you say that again, please?
He's just a music liner. Blood out of his mouth and ears.
Do you know if he's been shot?
No.
He has not, but there's blood coming out of his mouth?
And ears and all over on the floor.
So blood all over?
All over.
Okay.
Can you go, please?
on or what's going on so I can advise our officer?
There's nothing to advise.
It's just at this time there is nothing going on.
No.
Okay. Do you know, does he
No, I don't. I'm driving.
Aaron, I have two deputies coming your way, okay? One's coming from Frere, so it shouldn't take them too long to get to you. Are you guys in the living room?
Yeah.
Floor?
There's recliner.
I'm sorry.
There's recliner. There's a cop here now, so.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing
There's a deputy here now.
There is a deputy there? Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, okay?
Okay.
All right, take care.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you. So that's the phone call, obviously, that you made with 911 on June 18th of 2021?
Correct.
I believe the 911 dispatcher asked you if your brother had been shot, correct?
Yes.
And I think you said that you didn't know.
Correct.
Can you explain?
Couldn't tell what was wrong.
What?
Didn't see an obvious.
Karina had told you that someone was in the house. You arrived at the scene. She's screaming. Did she ever give you a name or express any concern about any individuals?
No.
I think 911 asked you what was going on so that they could advise, and you stated there's nothing to advise. What was that conversation?
That everybody was, or Ryan and her were in the living room, and the kids were in the bedroom, and I have seen nobody at that point.
Did you see any signs of forced entry or anything that gave you concern that anybody else was there?
No.
There's a door behind Ryan, correct? That recliner that he was in?
Yes.
Is that open or closed?
Closed.
So we heard you state at the end of the phone call that a deputy had arrived.
Correct.
We've seen some body cam footage of deputies arriving on the scene and interacting with you. Do you recall those first reactions when law enforcement arrived?
From my reaction when they
just
arrived?
what happened?
Not exactly. I don't really recall.
Did you attempt to provide them with whatever information you knew?
Yes.
Were you able to watch Karina interact with members of law enforcement?
Yes.
Did she ever, based on what you observed, give them any information?
No.
No, you couldn't tell? That was a bad question, my apologies. No, you couldn't tell, or no, she didn't provide them with information?
I couldn't tell.
So once the deputies arrived, what did you do next? Did you stay in the house? Did you leave the house?
Eventually they wanted Karina to go out of the house, and I helped them take her out of the house.
Where did you go?
I think there was a bench at the front door.
What happened when you got to that bench?
We set her there.
For what purpose?
I think that's where law enforcement took us.
Was there a time when the two of you were alone and law enforcement wasn't around? On that bench, some time where you were alone?
I don't recall it.
Okay. During that time that you were outside, did she ever provide you with any further information, what was happening or what had happened?
No.
Did you ask her what was going on?
No,
Okay. At that point, did you feel there was any point in trying to talk to her?
no,
Why do you say that?
because most of it was just screaming and hysteric.
At some point, did you get some of Ryan's blood on you?
Yes.
How did that happen?
I had blood on my hand from checking from for his pulse, and I had some on my chest from her hair,
From Karina's hair?
from Karina's hair, when I helped her out of the house.
Should be fairly clear, but can you just, you helped her out of the house, and where was Karina in relation to you that you would have gotten Ryan's blood on you?
With her head on my shoulder as we walked out.
Were you aware whether Karina had a handgun of her own in the house?
No,
Did you ever have a conversation with her about a gun safe?
yes.
What was that conversation?
I got asked by a deputy if I knew the combination to the gun safe in their house to ask Karina what it was.
Did you know the gun safe code?
No,
Do you have any idea how to get into that gun safe?
no,
Did you have that conversation with Karina?
yes.
What did she tell you?
I couldn't get an answer. Or she said she didn't know, one of the two.
Do you remember about how long roughly that conversation was after you'd first arrived on scene?
No.
Okay, we are back on the record after our mid-afternoon break. We have our jurors and counsel and parties present, and we have Mr. Aaron Cooper on the stand. Mr. Cooper, even though we took a break, I just remind you, sir, that you were still under oath. And I guess before we resume with direct examination, right before we recessed, there was an objection by Ms. Watt. I think the parties discussed it, and the state essentially concurs with the objection, so I'm sustaining the objection. And Mr. Ringel, you may move on to your next question.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Cooper, do you see Karina Cooper here in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you point her out and describe an item of clothing that she's wearing?
And she's over here in a black and gray sweater.
Judge, the state would request that the record reflect identification.
The record so reflects.
No further questions.
Ms. Watt, cross-examination?
Thank you. Mr. Cooper, are you aware of whether or not Karina and Ryan, if they regularly lock their doors at night?
I'm not.
Were you aware of any marital problems between the two before this night?
I was not.
Had you ever heard Karina make any remarks to Ryan like that she would shoot him?
No.
This phone call about a shell casing, had you previously told police about that phone call?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. I guess the state seemed to know of it. When did you first tell the state about that phone call?
Judge, I'm going to object. May we approach?
You may.
Come on, StreamYard. I know you don't like it when I ask you to do things. Can you hear me now? StreamYard is being aggravating. Okay. I took a picture of the sky, but on the computer it just looks white. But it's black. I don't know why. I don't know why it looks on the computer it looks white cuz it's not white, it's black. It's black clouds right over my house, all over. Black. Front, back, everywhere black. So, and lots of thunder. I haven't seen any lightning, so it's probably not close, but um if you lose me, I'll text somebody. If the electricity goes out, I'll text somebody and they can tell y'all we're done. But if StreamYard crashes, I'll just be back. But if the electricity goes out, I'll text somebody and they'll tell you that I'll text Judy and she can tell you that we're done because the electricity went out. So, just to let you know, because I don't know what's gonna happen. It looks like it's nighttime in my house right now. It's a good thing I got my ring light, or you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Say about this phone call.
Within the last few weeks.
Okay. And I understand that oftentimes you might meet with the prosecution for trial.
Yep.
Okay. And so that's when you provided information.
Yes.
How many times had you previously talked to the police about this case? Or the state, I guess?
I guess I don't have a number.
Okay. Well, more than two?
Yes.
Okay. Regardless, when the phone call was made, I'm assuming you didn't give it much passing thought if you didn't mention it for several years.
No.
Okay.
What phone call?
All right, anybody who's got a phone on in the gallery, yeah, just make sure it's off on silent, all right? Thank you. Does anybody's got a phone on up here too? Make sure it's silent. But I haven't heard that yet. Any redirect?
To ask you if you were in a relationship with both Ryan and Karina, is that something you feel like you would be aware of?
No.
Why do you say that?
Don't really talk about our problems too often to each other.
Is that consistent with your personality?
Yes.
Would that be consistent with Ryan's personality as well?
Yes.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Any recross?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cooper. You may step down. All right, is the state prepared to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, the state calls Kate Cooper.
All right, before you bring Mr. Cooper in, I'm just gonna, any expanded media coverage had been authorized except for this witness, so that means any live streaming, any pictures, any audio recordings is off limits. I get a thumbs up from the back.
Oh. Okay, well, I guess we can zoom through. Oh, No, we can't. We're caught up to live. Yeah, if the power goes out, everything will shut down. And then I'll just text Judy and tell her to tell you guys that I won't be back. I don't know what it'll do on your end, but I know that, like when StreamYard crashes, you guys get a blue screen. I don't know what'll happen if the power goes out here. I don't know what you guys will see if the power goes out. I don't know if you'll get a purple screen and it'll look like it does when StreamYard crashes, or if the whole thing will just go away. Like, I don't know what'll happen. And I don't know what we're going to do while this witness is on the stand. I don't know how. This is Let's see, what's the time difference? This is Iowa, right? This is probably the last witness for today. Because, okay, we're caught up to the live now. And it's 4:30. That might not be the last witness. Well, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to... Do you want to call it quits for today, and then if there's another witness after beginning of tomorrow, rather than just sit here and wait for we don't know how long? Let's do that because it's storming pretty bad, and I really want to... I don't like... I mean, it's bad. It's been bad the past couple weeks, but this one's bad today. So, yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and call it quits for right now. And then if there's another witness after this one, because this is a juvenile witness, so they're not going to show it. So if there's another witness after this one, go ahead and show my face. Hopefully I won't scare StreamYard. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So we'll stop here. And then if there's another witness after this one, then tomorrow we'll just tack that one on the beginning. Okay. So we won't miss anything. So we'll just quit here now. Okay. We'll do that. All right. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. This has been fun. We got a new trial. Yay. And we got to see Brian Koberger. I still want to know why. Because it's weird. But whatever. Okay. Be kind to people. Love your family. Jesus loves you, and so do I. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Have a great evening.